guys sign and we'll go. All right, everybody ready to go? Very good. Well, good morning, everybody. This press briefing is to provide you with preliminary information on a serious incident involving multiple law enforcement agencies and affecting numerous people throughout Billings and Yellowstone County. With this morning is Captain Keith Edgell from the Highway Patrol, and joining us shortly will be Sheriff Mike Linder. Keep in mind that this information is preliminary, and we will update as needed. At approximately 10:12 p.m. last night, officers responded to a burglary alarm at Performance Auto located at Foot and Laurel Road. Officers arrived on scene and reported that the window to the business was broken out and that there were two male suspects inside. Officers challenged the two and ordered them to stop. One complied and was taken into custody without incident. The other suspect, later identified as 41-year-old Wyoming resident Ryan McElmurray, it's spelled M-C-E-L-M-U-R-Y, ignored orders to stop and ran east across Foot and in between businesses. Additional officers arrived on scene to assist in the search. Shortly thereafter, a single gunshot was heard coming from the area where McElmurray was last seen. It was later discovered that McElmurray had used a handgun to shoot out a window of a building to gain access. Once inside, he found a Ford pickup truck with the keys in it. He drove it through a fence and ultimately headed west on Simpson. At this point, Officer Nathan Contreras, a 3-year veteran of the police department, pulled onto Simpson and behind McElmurray. McElmurray drove west on Simpson and made a U-turn, accelerated, and headed directly for Contreras. Fearing he was going to be rammed, Contreras fired multiple rounds at McElmurray as the truck veered past the driver's side of the patrol car. The investigation has not yet determined Contreras' position, i.e. in the car or out of it, or if McElmurray fired shots. The left side driver's window of Contreras' patrol car was shot out. It is unknown by whom. Subsequent investigation revealed that two occupied trailers about a block away and directly east on Simpson and across South Billings had been struck by bullets. At this point, in the investigation, it's unknown who the rounds belonged to, but we will be investigating that. Officer Contreras was uninjured, and McElmurray continued east on Simpson to South Billings Boulevard, where he headed north. He drove through a parking lot belonging to Hansers Automotive and did some property damage before heading west on Laurel Road, but not before driving through a fence at Centennial Homes. McElmurray drives west on Laurel Road and eventually onto King Avenue West. His pickup that he's driving has flat tires and he's running on rims. Officers hear a volley of gunfire from McElmurray's area, but they don't know what he is shooting at. He pulls into the yard or parking lot of a group home at 5403 King Avenue West. He forces his way into the residence and confronts a female sticking a gun in her face and demanding car keys. She indicates there's a vehicle in the garage and that the keys are in it. As officers are beginning to converge, McElmurray gets back into the original pickup truck, pulls onto the yard and around to the back of the house. There he jumps out, jumps over a fence, and runs to another house. Here he smashes out the front picture window and enters. He is confronted by the homeowner, and he points a gun at the homeowner's face and demands keys. The homeowner gives McMultry keys to a Chevy Avalanche. A home security camera footage captures that event. McElmurray gets in the Avalanche and backs it through the garage door and into a pickup truck that's parked nearby. He then flees the area through fields and side streets, eventually exiting on 48th Street West, and then he leads officers on a high-speed pursuit around the west end of town. We believe the route was something like this. He went 48th to Rimrock, up around the Mormon Temple, back down to Rimrock, south on Shiloh in the northbound lane. The avalanche was spike stripped at Grand Avenue and now running on flat tires and ultimately rims. At Broadwater, he attempted to do a head-on stop of a vehicle, that is, drive at it head-on in order to get it to stop. One vehicle dodges and gets around McElmurray, heads to another vehicle. This one stops. He gets out of the avalanche and gets into the passenger side of the stopped car and forced that driver out at gunpoint. That was a Chevy Suburban. McElmurray heads south on Shiloh and eventually onto I-90, where he heads east. Vehicle was again spiked at North 27th, and he ultimately gets off I-90 at the Lockwood exit, again running on rims. McElmurray goes to the town pump and again tries to take a car at gunpoint, but he couldn't get it started. He then approaches a woman who is gassing her vehicle and at gunpoint takes a Pathfinder from her. McElmurray heads west and ultimately onto Main Street and heads north. At this time, the Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office and a highway patrol trooper, along with one of our officers in pursuit. They follow McElmurray north on Highway 87 to Doyle Road, where he attempts to turn right. However, his speed was too fast and he rolls the vehicle. McElmurray got out and ran several hundred yards across the field to a trailer where he found a vehicle with keys in it. He took that vehicle, drove it through a shed wall, and drove directly at the officers. They all fired multiple rounds, fearing that he was trying to hit them. The vehicle passed the officers, slowed down, and he ultimately got out and surrendered. The Billings Police Department officer who fired is 9-year veteran Cody Kaiser. I'll allow the sheriff and Captain Edgell to talk about their staff if they desire. No officers were injured, and it appeared that McElmurray had some minor injuries to his head and hand. It is unknown when those took place. He was transported to the hospital for assessment. Subsequent investigation showed that a semi-automatic handgun had fallen out of the Pathfinder when it rolled, and that the suspect had 2 magazines with ammo on his person when arrested. And although I can't confirm it at this point, I do assume that there was a magazine in the weapon, but again, I can't confirm that. This incident started about 10 p.m. and ended 50 minutes later. During this 50 minutes of carnage, there are 10 crime scenes, 5 stolen vehicles, 3 at gunpoint, and numerous victims. It is beyond belief that no one was hurt or killed during this incident, to include McElmurray. As far as the police department is concerned, multiple police vehicles sustained various amounts of damage, and I'm told that's 6 that will be out of service for a while. We'll continue to assess that. Our 2 officers are in officer-involved shooting protocol. They are currently on administrative leave. McElmurray has an extensive drug history out of Wyoming. At my first inquiry, we'll be meeting with the county attorney's office this afternoon to determine appropriate charges. And at this point, I will defer to the sheriff and captain regarding any comments they may have or any information they care to share about their officers. And then after that, I'll be happy to take questions.
Good morning, Captain Edgell with Montana Highway Patrol. As far as the Highway Patrol's involvement in this pursuit, we were involved at approximately 22:59 hours is when our officers took over lead in the pursuit. That was up on Main Street or 87 North after the individual taken the vehicle from the town pump. Again, we pursued up north. Trooper Robbins did attempt to take legal intervention at Independent and 87, or Highway 312 in Independent Lane, where we tried to spin the vehicle out at that point to try to stop the pursuit. That was unsuccessful. He continued back over to 87 and then north. At that point that he rolled the vehicle, Officer Robbins as well as Trooper Naff were both the two officers that were involved from the Highway Patrol at the location of the shooting. However, only Officer Robbins was directly in the line of the vehicle at the time that the shots were fired. Trooper Naff did not fire any shots at that point. Other than that, we don't have anything else. Trooper Robbins will be, like all the agencies for the most part, will be on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation, and we'll proceed with our administrative side. We're relying on the county is handling the shooting scene out on Doyle Road, and that's where that investigation will sit.
Thank you. I really don't have a lot to add to what Chief and the Captain just gave you. I can tell you that our detectives are currently still out at the scene at Doyle Road and 87 North, and we have two basically scenes out there at this time. They're going to be finishing the investigation shortly. As far as the deputy that was involved in the and fired shots, Caleb Greenfield, he's been with our office for about 4 years, and he's currently on administrative leave following the same protocols that you've been hearing about. So as far as I'm aware, we don't have any vehicle damage. We're just, I haven't seen any of the reports yet. I'm letting them do their job, and I'll get with them this afternoon. But if there's any questions, I'd be open to any questions that you have. So, all right, thank you.
Appreciate it. What Lieutenant Woolley has spun up here for you is a kind of a map of some of those spots that we talked about, so we can show you the area that was covered throughout this 50 minutes, and just exactly how dangerous, reckless, and desperate this individual was. So as we move through the pins here, the first one is Performance Auto. That's where the alarm came in. You can see that it is at Foot and Laurel Road. The next pin to the right is the FAA building. That is the one that was had the window shot out and entered and pickup taken. And so the next one, okay, yeah, OIS 1, that's where the first shooting took place. So that's on Simpson. So what has happened is that the truck has come out of that FAA area. It has headed south, and then it turned west on Simpson, turned around at the dead end down here, and came back at the officer, and that's where that shooting took place. The trailer houses that I referred to would be right over where Lieutenant has that icon or that pointer, or whatever that is. So that's where the trailer houses were that were hit. Again, there's two of them, and each were hit twice. No injuries over there. Moving to the other end of town, we are now at this group home, which is called New Day at 54th and King. This is the first home invasion, where it kicks the door in, confronts the female with the gun. Officers arrive. He goes out of that house and then goes to another one, kicks the window out, and that's where the avalanche is back through the door. And we start around the west end up on the north side. So the Temple, up on Rimrock, and then ultimately back on Shiloh. So on Shiloh, he is heading south in the northbound lane. His tires are spiked at Grand Avenue. Eventually, he's on rims. He attempts to do the head-on stop with one vehicle, fails at that, goes a little further, does it again to a second vehicle, and that one is carjacked at gunpoint. That is a Chevy Blazer. Down down Shiloh and ultimately onto the interstate to the Lockwood exit, which is 452. And the vehicle again is spiked. Once again, running on rims, we go to the town pump and attempt to carjack two vehicles there. The first one failed, couldn't get it started. And the second one was a Pathfinder at the gas pumps. From there, west into town and ultimately on Main Street and out to Doyle Road where he rolled the vehicle, and then out on foot for a couple hundred yards. And so the map is designed to show you how far this went, how dangerous it was for all the citizens and for our officers as well. We have gunshots. We have carjackings at gunpoint. Again, like I said, 10 crime scenes, 5 stolen vehicles, 3 by gunpoint. And so this is a absolute dangerous situation. I thank our partners with the sheriff and the highway patrol helping us out there on the flanks, and I would also say that our officer ends up out there because we're not going to leave people on their own just because they're getting too far out of town. And so the mutual support is just wonderful, and I think it's demonstrated here. That you have all 3 represented mutually supporting people way out on the flanks of town. So that is the overview of the map. We'll be meeting with county attorney today. Investigators were at least to determine appropriate charges. There'll be a few. We're just not quite sure what and when and who's carrying that. So, if we didn't experience it, see it, talk to these officers, listen to the urgency in their voice, this is akin to a Hollywood action movie, but it's not. This was serious situation, and I'm so very happy but surprised that nobody got hurt, anybody involved in it, with the distances that were traveled, the speeds, and the time, not to mention gunfire. That's it for prepared remarks. Ready to take questions.
Do you have an approximate speed of how fast you guys think he was going at certain points?
I have seen nothing on speeds, so I don't know.
Do you have a history with law enforcement or anything in your buildings?
Not in Billings that I know of. The preliminary information I got was from Wyoming, secondhand coming to me. Obviously, I think we probably have a picture available if we get somebody charged, but that's what was sent up to us. So I don't think anybody notified me of anything locally.
Do you know if he's still in the hospital or is he over in YCD?
Those are minor injuries. I believe he's down at the jail by now.
How old did you say he was?
41.
Do you know if he was under the influence of drugs?
I don't know that. I would venture to say and highly suspect that he had something on board. That type of paranoia, that type of desperate, irrational behavior, that's not normal. But again, we would have to rely on medical records to get that, because I don't think they charged him with DUI or anything like that, given the severity of some of the other stuff. So
he didn't have an active warrant or anything like that. He just has a criminal record.
Not that we know of. Understand, when this thing started, had he not run, he'd have been charged with a burglary. Broke into a building.
Can you give us the name of the other guy who was arrested initially?
You know, I never did get that. I don't know who that is, and don't know what his story was either, so. Yeah. That it? Okay, follow-up's good to go. All right, if any of those fact sets change, then we'll let you know. But like I said, that's as we understand the situation as it took place. And so all three agencies are operating under that working theory, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to go look at our police cars now. No, all right. My fleet guy's saying no. Going to have night shift on Uber. Thank you all for coming.